It's the OGR podcast.
No,
Or do you have nothing?
I just started it, so let's see where it goes.
Cool. Let's absolutely wing it.
Yeah, let's go.
Um,
I'm okay. This is round two that we're winging it.
all right. Let's go with what Max said because I liked that question about talk about academic and athletic validation.
Yeah.
To me, that hits home because when I was younger in high school, I was pretty good at school and I was pretty good at athletics. And that was great. But it did sort of sometimes leave me in a weird spot where I felt like when I had those things, that's sort of what people knew me for.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like athletics and academics are two things that at a young age society sort of throws at kids and goes like, be good at one of these two and your life will be easy.
Oh yeah.
And it puts a lot of importance on those two things. And there's nothing wrong with either academics or athletics, but I feel like just like anything, if you hold it too closely and understand that, or you don't understand that they're just sort of things that they're not actually you, that can be bad. I feel like it's very important to be careful with what you use to develop your sense of identity. It's very, very important to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Um, because, say, for example, sports. You could very easily find yourself either good at sports and then falling in with a group of people who are maybe a bad influence or doing things that you wouldn't want to do because that's what the team is doing. Or you could find yourself bad at sports and you could find yourself feeling bad about yourself for no reason when as if sports are this big holy thing that matter, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Um everything matters and nothing matters at the same time. And when it comes to athletics, I feel like because athletics, it's easier for people to see that athletics aren't really important, even though people are obsessed with it. I mean, I really liked sports, but for some reason, I always was just sort of like, I don't know, I guess I was drawn more to music and art and
Mm-hmm.
friends and things like that. But academics is another one because I don't know. There's certain things that get pushed on you so heavily at a young age, and academics is great, but there's a lot of other really important things about life. Just today, I was thinking if there is one skill that you could learn that would be beneficial for you in life, and no other skills, it would probably be to meditate, honestly.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
the ability to clear your mind and understand that your thoughts are not in control of you, you are in control of your thoughts, and to be able to think what you want to think and just let your mind be quiet, let your mind be loud, whatever, just be in control of it. That would probably be the most beneficial skill a person could develop.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't taught in school at all. I
Not
mean,
at all.
I I don't know. Like I said, math, learning to read and write, those are really great, important things. I'm not crapping on school. I just think that it's very important to look at what is being handed to you by life and not always just grab it up and go, all right, this is what I'm getting, so I guess this is what's important. This is what life is. I guess I should be try to do some sports and try to do well at school and then go home every night and play video games and repeat that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Um, if you're happy with that, that's also fine. But just look at it and decide, do I like this? And understand the importance of it, understand what it is, understand what it isn't, and go from there. I mean, if you're struggling in school, it doesn't really matter. you could, I mean, if there's certain skills you want to learn through school, say learning to read and write is very important so that you can communicate. Um, you can communicate yourself better. Communication is probably the most universally useful skill
Oh yeah.
that a person can have. Um, and just having that is sort of objectively useful. But beyond that, it's like, oh, I failed my biology quiz. I don't know. Sometimes people get a little bit too zoomed in on their life. And maybe I'll take it broader from here, beyond just like the school and athletics sort of thing.
Hmm.
But I think the point that I'm talking about is that people can see something in life, whether it's a relationship or a job or an obstacle, anything that is sort of negative. And it can be a grain of sand, it can be a negative grain of sand. But if you zoom in hard enough with your microscope of a brain, you can zoom in to the point where that grain of sand looks like a mountain.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to remember that you can be like, oh my God, I didn't make the badminton team. My life is over. It's just like you can zoom way back out of that and see that it's not that big of a deal. And I think that that's, yeah. Our
Max,
very first episode
I have a lot to
was
say.
called If You Lose Perspective, You Lose Your Power.
Yeah.
What did they say in the chat?
Max, I have a lot to say to you. First off, I think that you are looking for validation in the wrong places. And I think that you're seeking validation from an outside source when really you need to seek it within yourself. I think that if you're not validating yourself and your existence as a person, in general, you're not going to be able to feel it even if people are giving it to you. I think that if you don't feel as though you are enough or that you are valid in existing, you're not going to be able to receive the outside information from people who are telling you they love you and telling you that you're enough and you're going to succeed and all this good stuff. So I think that it's really important to kind of dig down and find out why you don't feel it within yourself. So maybe start there and kind of say, hey, look, why do I not think I'm enough? Why do I not think I'm worthy? Why do I feel the way that I do about myself in this negative light? And I think a lot of the communication things as well, yeah, communication is super important to learn, but I think that interpersonal communication is definitely the number one. And if you can't, properly communicate with yourself and what you're feeling and what you're looking for, then you're not going to be able to get it from other people. So I think that maybe starting with internal, like, self perspective might be a good place to start before you look for it in outside sources. I don't necessarily know that, and I'm speaking from Max's point because I know Max well enough, right? They talk to me all the time, so I know that Max is struggling a little bit with the self perspective type situation, and so I think for Max it really is a lot deeper than just academic or athletic validation. I think that it really starts in here, and I think that a lot of it has to do with them not seeing themselves in the way that other people see them and not realizing their greatest potential. And I think that it really has to start there before you can expect it to come from anywhere else.
For sure. I want to ask some questions to maybe see if we can get there
Yeah.
and find a way. Um, what I guess who do you appreciate the validation from the most? Is it just anybody or is it particular people? That's kind of one thing a question that I was
That's a good
wanting you
question.
to ask. And also, if you know why or like how exactly the validation makes you feel, like what exactly do you feel when you feel validated? Um,
Hmm.
it's a hard thing to ask.
I want to do
Um,
this. I'm going to get a note
like
paper. I want to do this for myself.
cool. Everybody can do this. Let's
No,
all
this
join
is
in together.
honestly, this is a good one. I need this.
Yeah. So teachers, coaches, sometimes family. Um, so not just anybody. it's like certain people that you look up to. Is that fair to say? Or could like a stranger off the
Where did
street?
I go?
Yeah. So it's like it's people who you look up to. So and it makes you feel happy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I just want to make sure that I'm not putting words in your mouth when I say that you seek validation because that's the thing. Like let's just try to figure out what's going on. I don't even have an answer for you. This isn't like some great monk voodoo working around to blowing your mind. I'm literally just want to look more specifically at what is actually happening. Like you started by saying I live for applause. Well, what does that mean? Like, and then you said, I seek validation. Okay, who do you seek validation from? You seek validation from teachers, coaches, people who are sort of you look up to. Um, I'm trying to think about what other questions, like what else I want to know about this feeling that you're seeking. Um, when you don't do you like the verbal validation? Do you like to be told like good job?
Oof.
Um do you like what does validation look like to you? When you say so we know who you want it from. We know that like for the people that the type of person you want validation from. Now what does validation mean? What does validation mean to you? What does that look like?
Hmm.
Because validation is a very broad term that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. So let's try to figure out what you did good. Like affirmation that you did a good job. Normally verbal. I'm sure if you would you appreciate like getting a gift or a reward. I'm sure that would be nice, but it sounds like
Yes and
hmm
no. So
cool.
for me personally, I think Max, and you might relate to this. One of the
Yeah.
big ones for me is I'm proud of you, or like notating the change or the hard effort that's been put into something. So like hearing someone say that they're proud is a big one for me, and I think Max has that as well. Yes. Okay.
Max just said knowing that the overthinking paid off.
Oh God, I hate it. I hate it. Max,
I love it
delete
because
it.
in that phrase, you are saying, you are acknowledging this has nothing to do with anybody else. Like you are saying to me, this has nothing to do with anybody else.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting. It's not like good or bad, but it's just like it's interesting to note that you are through a process of doing things. You're approaching life in a certain way and you are unsure about it. You're not sure. And that's fine. That makes a lot of sense. Life's pretty hard to figure out. Most people never figure it out. Um, and I think even the idea that you can figure it out isn't all that useful. The idea that, like, all right, I've got all the answers. Now life will be easy and perfect.
Okay, so while we're doing this, because I'm also doing the like journaling exercise that we're doing aloud, Max, what is it that makes you unsure? Because I also need to ask myself that
Ah,
question. What specifically is
yeah,
making you
these
unsure?
questions are good.
Like, what
Hmm.
specific things are making you unsure about yourself? Oh, no, okay, okay. That's a very broad answer, though, not knowing the outcome.
Not knowing outcomes. Nah, not knowing outcomes is like, I feel like that is a universal patron of being alive
Yeah.
because, like, nobody can ever, with 100% certainty, know the outcome of anything. Science tells us that. Like, you can know that something will almost always probably happen, but, like, that is one of the big scaries of life. that you can't see the future. That's why everybody loves the idea of this super power of being able to see the future. Even though
Yeah.
most of the time in movies, when that is a thing, the person with the power ends up being immensely burdened by the fact that they can see the future. um, because then they like see a bus crash and then they're trying to stop the bus from crashing and the whole works.
Yeah, see, for me,
Um,
it's like unknown potential specifically. So, not the unknown outcome of something, but unknown potential that I might have. Like, I'm not applying myself to the fullest extent, and that's a big one.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's so hard to be like, am I should I bother trying? Because
Yeah.
I might not be good enough, so like should I even bother trying?
That's my constant fight with myself is, are you good enough? Are you enough? The answer is yeah, but are we good enough at XYZ? Maybe not. What's the point? Circle.
We don't really have a question right now, but I think we were swimming around.
Yeah.
I think we know that you feel unsure about who you maybe not who you are, but just the things you do sometimes. And it's good to feel like you are doing right. Um, it's interesting. Why do you feel like these people that you are seeking validation from know whether what you're doing is good or bad? What about them makes you think they are able to decide if I am doing the right thing? But these people that you look up to. I think for some reason I want to dig deeper in that direction. Like, what is it about these people specifically?
So I'm looking at the list
Is
that
it the
I
is it
made.
the color of their hair?
list-
Is it their age?
The list that I made, and I'm
Yeah, sorry.
immediately looking at it and saying, "Oh wow, actually, they have no like, there's no qualification to decide whether or not I'm doing well." Like quite literally, I'm looking up to someone who has no say in that whatsoever, and I really should not care as much about whether or not I'm doing a good enough job for them, and that's actually insane because I'm realizing that now. But I think I'm
Yeah.
still going to look for validation from them, even though I shouldn't.
That's interesting. Let's ignore it.
That's where we're at.
No, like
That's a tomorrow
and
problem.
in my mind, I felt like that was the answer. But I also feel like there could be more to it than that. That might just be sort of an initial gut reaction that, well, no, oh, who are they to decide or whatever? Like, you could have great role models in your life.
Yeah.
You could, whether it's parents or teachers or coaches, they have life experience, and wanting to access that life experience and learn from that life experience is, I think, not stupid. Like, that's perfectly reasonable
Yeah.
to want to know more about life, especially at a young age. Is that, I think that maybe this is the approach I want to take now, and I'm kind of leading, so I could be wrong here, but I think that we might be able to boil this down to a goal that allows you to be in the driver's seat and take the action, as opposed to sitting back and passively like trying things to wait for that validation. I want to know. I won't. Okay. You
Yeah.
have a lot of very, very meaningful things. Like, I think I'm gonna keep going in this direction because it could be helpful. So you want to have a good life. You want to succeed. You want to be happy. You want to have a successful future.
Thomas.
You want those things. And you don't need to pour your heart out at all if you don't want to. You're certainly welcome to. But I think that we've got something cool rolling here. So, whatever if you want to, but basically what I'm on right now is we started with I want validation. but we can see that what you really want is direction. Validation, direction. Like the validation is sort of giving you some sort of direction because, like you said, you're afraid of the future. Well, you didn't say that specifically. You wish you knew the outcomes of things before they happened or whatever. How you phrased it. And how can you have direction? Direction in a way that doesn't hurt you and control you. Validation can be very painful, and it puts you in a very passive position where you are working and working and working and trying all sorts of different things in the hopes that you'll get like a yes or a no. It's kind of like that when you would play hotter or colder. Yeah, don't share that, Max. That's not. I wouldn't want you to. Please don't share anything that you don't want to. Um, it, Validation is kind of like playing this game of hot or colder, and I think that you might be able to cut through that fog, that sort of very vague process of trying things and then seeing if people who you look up to are proud of you, and you might be able to do some thinking and find like what specifically do you want to know? What would be particularly useful? Like this validation is you want communication coming in. You want some sort of information. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. It's like what specific lessons do you want to learn that you think might help you be better going forward and have a really great life? I like the way this piece of hair is flying out.
Oof. I hate the question you
Yeah.
just asked. What is it that you want to know? So, back on
What do
this,
you want to know?
So since Max hasn't replied, I think I have a lot to say about that. So specifically, what do I want to know from this said person that I'm focused on? For some reason, I made a list of people that I'm thinking of, but then for some reason this one person is really just sticking out to me, and I think it's because I've been thinking about them a lot lately, and their impact on me and my career path. So I think that what do I want to know from them specifically? Ooh. For this specific person, I think my answer to that question would be, am I less of a burden and more useful to you? Like, I just want to make sure that I'm not making things more complicated for them and how they're running stuff. And I want to make sure that I'm not wrecking the entire business plan by existing. Like, I just want to make sure that the things I'm doing, the things I'm doing for them are actually more useful and that I'm not taking it 25 steps backwards. Yeah, because, that's a lot to ride on. So there's that.
Am I reaching by suggesting that perhaps this person is me?
No.
Or is it somebody? Okay, cool. I was like, are you talking about like you helping me with the podcast?
Oh,
Because
God.
you're very helpful.
No, not at all. That's absolutely, that's
Okay,
so
good.
funny. That is so funny that
I
you
was
thought of
like-
you.
I didn't think it was. Like, that doesn't really make sense. But I was
No.
just like, no.
Well, you're
Anyways,
definitely on my who do I need validation from list. You're definitely on there, but the person I have circled is not you.
Okay, good.
I have no concerns
Good, I'm off
about getting anything like done and not being a burden to you because I know that I'm nothing close to burdensome when it comes to our relationship. Like, I know that I am more useful as a friend than anything else. Professor, you're also on that list for the record, but I'm not ranking anybody in place. But also, when you said that, for some reason...
All right, let's
Stop, we're not doing this.
dive into Hailey's personal life.
not
No,
doing this.
no.
No, but to get into
it's really great.
my personal life here,
Yes.
The first thing, before I thought about the specific person, the first thing that I thought of when you said, what is it that you want? For some reason, the first thing I thought of in my brain was, validation from... This is gonna sound so bad no matter how I say it. Validation from adult men. Like, I think... And I think the reason I
You gotta
think
love
that
adult men.
is because my father hasn't been in the picture since like 2006. So I think that's why. This is terrible. I did not want to turn this into a therapy session, but I think I think that's why my brain went there right away.
You came to the wrong conversation. You came to the wrong Discord call. No,
So I just want Max
there's
to
a
know
lot
that
of that's
that's
cool.
out there. Like I'm putting myself out. This is really a brave thing that I'm doing here, but putting myself out there and talking about my own personal life for once
Yes.
because that's that. But Max, I want you to know that don't worry. Like even people like me have issues. So
Yes. Um,
anyway,
yeah, I think that like if you haven't tried looking at the things that happened to you when you're young, I mean, that's very obviously something to start looking at. I personally feel like knowing the bad things that happen to you and knowing sort of what to do about it or how to come to terms with those things is very different. Like you can know what happened to you and you can know that it's the problem, but sort of figuring out what to do about that or whether it's a good or a bad thing, that's pretty hard.
yeah.
Um, I just in terms of like accepting and understanding the bad things that have happened to you. That's
Well,
very important, but
there's a lot that comes with accepting that things have happened to you. You can understand that things have happened to you without accepting them. And I think with trauma, that's where you get to a point of, hey, you know, understand that something has happened to you is different than accepting that it's happened to you. And like you can say, oh my gosh, this significant thing happened in my life, and that's it. Or you can say, hey, this significant thing happened to me in my life, and I'm going to use it to build off of and become a better person for that reason. Not just that it happened, but that it happened to you, and you're going to use it in a beneficial way. And it's okay to not know that right away. Like, I think that a lot of times people are trying to heal from something too soon after it's happened, and they're looking for purpose within something bad that's happened to them, not like giving themselves time to heal, I think. So I think there's a difference between understanding and being aware that something has happened to you and accepting it in like a hardcore version of, hey, I'm going to use that to motivate me.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, definitely. I think that is one of the big questions I would love to answer or help with. If there's a way to, I mean, sometimes trauma and bad things can pile on very fast, and it's hard enough to deal with the bad things that are happening to you now
Yeah.
with starting to look at the big stack of bad things that have happened to you in the past. And it's a very, very complicated thing to unpack all of that to the point where sometimes it's just so uncomfortable that it's not fun at all. And I don't know why I was thinking this today, but I was jogging and I was sort of working on the way I was jogging. And I quit trying so hard. I'm going somewhere with this. Not with the jogging literally. I was going somewhere when I was jogging, but this is going somewhere. And I don't know why I felt this profound sense that if things feel hard, you're approaching it the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's not to
Wait.
say that everything is going to be butterflies and rainbows, but I really think that life is like water and that there you can flow downstream or you can paddle against the current. And when it comes to solving problems about yourself, I think that there is an opportunity to move into the positive, not in a way that is running away from the bad things that have happened to you, but just in a way that is redefining who you are. Because going back, especially if you're just going back to think about the bad things that happened to you, I really think is running on a treadmill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I there's something to be said for thinking about things for sure.
Yeah.
But after the 10,000th time that you've thought about it, um, you pretty much got it. Either you need to think about it in a new way or move on. Um,
Yeah,
I
what? Go ahead. You go
I want to
first.
get back to you should say what you're going to say, but I want to get back to seeing if we can dig towards a goal that allows us to find direction
Yeah.
because that was sort of the original conversation. I would love it if we can find a way to set our own direction. I think that's my goal right now is finding the right goal to achieve that goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, this is so unrelated. I need to turn my phone off during this podcast. My stepdad just texted me, and I saw his name come up, and I was like, "Fuck, he's relevant to this now because he probably heard me say
Yeah.
that I need validation from men." No, but he texted me and said it's thunder and lightning out, and for some reason, the first response that I had was outside question mark. So he said no, inside. Anyway,
Um,
that's why I was laughing. It wasn't anything you
yeah,
said.
no worries.
Yeah. No,
I
we need to
think
find a
that
purpose and direction, though, I feel like.
yeah, we have the validation. We were asking why, like who these people are and why we want validation from them, why we think they are a good source for direction. Why do you think like if you feel like I'm a father figure or a brother, why do you think that I am a good source of direction? It's not rhetorical.
Oh, good.
Like, what are the literal things that I do? Is it because I write good songs?
No.
Is it
Sorry.
because I have like a large social media like following? Like, what is it about me? Is it the fact that I am willing to talk to you? And just the fact that I'm willing to give you the time of day? Like, what is it? Is it the bathwater?
Shane, your music is good, for the record.
I understood that you were just the sharp no. Oh God, it has nothing to do with your
So,
music.
for me
That
personally...
actually makes me look up to you
Yeah,
less.
it does, yeah, actually. I want to be not like you in an artist way.
Oh, I don't not think this guy knows what he's doing with his life.
No idea. No, for me, the reason you're on my list is because, like, well, first off, like you said, yeah, you're willing to talk to me, which is, like, a big thing, because I'm not used to people wanting to talk to me. Yeah, I don't know, man, and also because anything you've said to me has been, like, nice? Question mark? Like, I'm used to people just feeding into my self-esteem problem, and, like, you've never fed into the self-esteem problem. You've fed into the, well, screw your self-esteem problem. That's what you fed into. And I think that it's using you as a mentor, and look, like me personally, I look up to you because it's like, hey, look at this guy and look at what he's doing, and I want to be able to do that too. And I want to make the impact for other people that you've made on me. And I think that's why. Like it's like a revolving circle. Like I see what you've done for me, and I want to be able to do that for them. And I think that I couldn't do that without looking up to you in a sense, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just rambled.
No. That's okay. So my green square wasn't appearing, so I was making sure my mic was good. So you received some sort of good feeling from me,
Yeah.
and you feel that you are now responsible to pass that on to somebody else.
I don't think responsible is the word. Because I don't
Okay.
put a pressure on myself to do it.
Hmm.
I do it because that's
Okay.
what I want to do. Like, I know we talk a lot about finding soul purpose, and I don't think that you need a purpose to keep existing, but I do think that a purpose could be helpful in a sense of direction, and for me, my sense of direction is being able to give other people and I'll bring it back to Thomas, right? You know, I had a Thomas awakening. I want other people to have their Thomas moment and realize that there's a reason to continue existing, and I'm not pressuring myself to do that.
You had the first, disregarding me because
Yeah,
I am like prime. I think you had the first Thomas Awakening, which is cool and irrelevant, but I just wanted to say how cool it is.
I did.
Anyways,
I just remember how excited
um,
you were on that call. Like, we spent like 3 hours on a call analyzing Thomas.
yeah. Um, so here's the thing that I am thinking that is a lot, but I'm going to say it. So I feel like you need to take a really good look at your desire to do for other people what I did for you, because I think that somewhere in that might be essentially you feel like whatever kindness, whether it's your teacher or your coach or your parent or like whatever about them they are giving you, you feel like you don't deserve it. And because of that, now want to do it for somebody else so that it's like fair. Because you got something for free and now you don't feel like you deserved it, so you want to pass on that goodness to somebody else as opposed to just accepting the fact that you deserve good things to come into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is like a very deep, very sneaky form of guilt and self-hate that can make you want to save other people. I know because I've sort of realized that about myself, that I wanted, I had a great coach or a great teacher or yada, 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 that did something good for me. And I thought, wow, what a great thing that happened to me. I think it would be great if I did that for other people. And that's true. But it is sort of a sneaky way of letting this good thing that's coming into, and it's going to hit you right in the heart or the soul. And you're like, let's give that to somebody else, as opposed to just letting the actual good in.
Mm-hmm.
And just, that's it. And you don't have to do anything from there. You can just take it. You can just have it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't want to address it, so let's just keep going.
I'll keep going. Yeah. I was just sort of, I was out of stuff to say, so I was sitting there thinking. I wasn't actually thinking, I was just sitting.
No, please keep
I was looking
talking.
at the chat a little bit. Yes. So, in terms of validation, I'm my brain's like one of those wood chippers where you just feed things in and I'm like, all right, let's feed the validation conversation back in and like
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not actually thinking, I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, validation. How does this feed back into our original conversation about wanting validation? I feel like the theme of feeling like you don't deserve things is there again. But no, I'm gonna keep going.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I have the same, like that was the thing I wanted to say. So
Well,
it's cool if we just take a minute. That's nothing wrong with that. Thank you, Arrow.
I I want to say something, but I don't know what. I have
I like
I have
this.
no
Max
clue.
said, yeah. Max said they want to be loved.
Max, you are loved. Look at us.
You want to be loved.
Fuck.
Um,
Me too, man.
what about hmm
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's something about that that isn't true. Because if it was true, you would
Whoa.
just love yourself and it would be so simple. Like if you really just wanted to be loved, you would just love yourself and then your problem would be solved. So something about that statement isn't true.
Wow. Wow.
This is where it's really helpful to think about wanting as action, as doing. Like if you wanted to be loved, you would be letting all of the love that you could into your life. But you aren't. There is love that you're not letting in. So something about the statement I want to be loved is not fully correct. Um I don't know what. I do know what. I just don't have the words for it yet. As soon as I said I don't know what, I was like, you're lying. It's like I do know what. Let's just dig.
Man. What did you just say about you have love? Hold on, you have love that you want to let in, but you're not letting it in, or something. Like there's love somewhere that you're not letting in. Is that what
Oh
you
yeah,
said?
there's love everywhere. You're alive. Every time you breathe, like just breathe in oxygen and feel that gift. Like if you I think there's this mindset that's going around lately about how humans are really bad for the earth and that maybe I shouldn't have kids because life is just such a burden and um like there's this nihilistic mindset that is very popular right now and I don't want to dive too much into that, but it's just not true. It's just not true. Like there's nothing about it that makes any sense. It's like, okay, things that use resources are bad for the resources. Okay, well, then I suppose we should just eradicate life. Like every sci-fi movie about an evil artificial intelligence that gains sentience is about this plot of like, humans are bad for the earth. Maybe if we just eliminate all human life, then everything will be good. It's just some twisted self-hate fantasy. And um in terms of like just accepting the fact that you aren't the problem, accepting the fact that you aren't the issue, accepting the fact that not that you deserve to be alive, but the idea that anything that you need to deserve to be alive is a stupid idea that was put in your head for some reason that doesn't make any sense. What does that mean to deserve, like, to deserve to be alive? What does that mean to, like, when I'm breathing air? Do I deserve the air?
No.
That's just a stupid question. No. Like, what? Sure, no, but like, or yes. Like, it's just a nonsensical question. This idea of deserving things. Like when you got the kindness and now you want to pass on the kindness to other people so that you can prove that you deserved that kindness or it wasn't wasted on you or something. Operating from this assumption that the person gave you the kindness for a reason. Like, I'm giving you this kindness so that you can pass it on to other people. And that's why. It's not because you deserve kindness. It's not because you could just have kindness. That could never be the case. I'm speaking sarcastically, of course. But um, that's the sick thinking. That's what I'm speaking. Hopefully that's clear. Like, it can be true that somebody is giving you kindness, that life is giving you a gift, that you are getting validation, that something good is happening to you, And it's just as simple as that. And in that way, once you accept that, because if you can't accept that, then you can never accept that the bad things that happen to you just happened. If you think, I'm making the connection here. If you think that good things happen to you for a reason, or because you deserve them, or you need to be a good person to earn those things, then subconsciously you believe that you deserve the bad things that are happening to you and that have happened to you. And now I'm understanding why this conversation is important. Because everything we've talked about so far is about you believing that you deserved the bad things that happened to you. And that was probably just because the people before you believed that the bad things that happened to them happened for a reason. It's really hard to accept that things just happen. That the bad things to you happened for no reason. They just happened.
Do you remember when this used to be
They
a
didn't.
podcast?
No, I don't. um, there's another connection to be made here about that conversation we started a while back about direction.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that you want direction, your desire for direction is based on the fact that you think good or bad things are happening to you based on your direction? Max before said, I don't want to be like, I don't want to make them, I know that when you say I don't want to be like my parents, what you mean is that I don't want to make the same mistakes that my parents made. Because there's magnificent things about everybody's parents. No matter how twisted and crappy your relationship with your parents was, that they're not Satan incarnate. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't know everybody's story. But you don't want to make the same mistakes that your parents made, maybe in regards to how they treat people or whatever. You want to be happy, you want to be successful, you want to have all these things. And you think that you have to earn them. In a sense, yeah, you do. Like if you just do nothing, then you might not have the success that you envision for yourself. But there's something about this that stinks like you feel that you don't deserve them. You don't deserve success. You don't deserve to be happy. You're doomed to just be a failure, or whatever it is. You know that that's a possibility, and you feel like you have to earn it. You have to fight against life. You have to overcome this immense struggle that it is to exist. You have to win the war with life. Like this is a big battle. And if you fight hard enough for long enough, then eventually the battle will be over and you can finally be happy and proud of yourself. Or maybe at that point you can get all the validation in the world because everybody will love you. Again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard for things, but I am saying that is a entirely unnecessary practice in self-torture. This fundamental belief that you don't deserve anything. It's just, I know this is going to be a part where I talk and I don't give an answer, but it's just I'm just approaching it with logic. It doesn't get you anything. Um, it feeling like you don't deserve good things. It's not going to help you get the success that you wanted. It can't. It'll probably do the opposite. Hmm.
Anyway.
You did. If you feel like you overshared, Mac, sorry, addressing the chat. Um, I'm sorry that you feel uncomfortable or anxious. I know we're talking a lot about you, which could very well be uncomfortable. I'm sorry about that. But you have not made anybody uncomfortable. You've sparked a phenomenal conversation. And I think that it was very brave. And I think that if you look in the chat right now, there's a lot of people who are healing and growing and learning, and like you have enriched the lives of every single person who is here listening by oversharing. Sharing is what I'll call it, because I don't think it was oversharing whatsoever. Um, Lots of great talk. Now we all feel sad. What do we do? I feel like more and more I'm very proud of this sort of coming back to the bravery is action. Let's, as we sleep, what are the things? Let's write it down. I actually just watched the second version of Inside by Bo Burnham, and he has a song that's like, I just wanna feel good, da, da, da. And he sort of repeats that for a while, and then he's just like, at the end, he's like, no, literally, give me specific directions, write it in an email. Like he's just like, no, like tell me how I can feel good, you know? Because at the start, it starts like this pop hook, and then yeah, we should go to Crisis Burger. Now would be the perfect time to hit up Crisis Burger, but what do you do?
I don't know, Shane. What do we do?
I'd hate to leave you guys on a cliffhanger
You really just
like that.
came in swinging tonight.
I This is something that I've been dealing with, and been talking with Z a lot about it. Shout out to Z. We talk a lot, and she has the right way of just like she just thinks completely opposite of how I think, but in a way that helps me like it kind of clears the cobwebs out of some of the corners of my brain. And one of the things that is like big that I've sort of kept with me is to not shrink myself. And I could have very easily predicted that this would be uncomfortable and not gone there. But instead, I was like, hi, I'm Shane. I've got a cool brain. I've got a brain that brains real hard. And yeah, I don't know. It's cool. I'm not, this is me just like speaking affirmations to myself. I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. I am proud of seeing people's stuff and digging into it and asking questions, because I am not a coward. Because you don't just leave things. You don't just ignore things. You don't just let things stay bad. You don't just go, oh, I guess this is who I am. I guess I'm sad. I guess I don't have direction. I guess I'm afraid. Like you just don't. And at a certain point, that's just the conversation. Like, and I've talked to you about this. I remember you sort of raising an eyebrow at me when I said a few podcasts back that I really want to get to the core of, we can talk about these things. We can write a whole textbook about it. I'm sure that like you guys have a great grasp on the conceptual side of your mental health. But like, what do you do? How do you actually just step out of the dark room and just go live your life? How do you just leave it behind? How do you sever that tie? Because it's so hard. Like, it's so easy to talk about. And people talk and talk and talk. People talk and talk and talk. I love to talk. It's fun. But it's just fun. It's just a game. It's just a made up. We're just playing Monopoly right now. Nothing has moved. We're all still sitting in the same chairs that we were sitting in at the start of the podcast. We feel different. We've felt emotions. We've thought thoughts. But what have we done? What has changed? We might have new ideas, which is a big change. That is a big change. I'm not implying that nothing has changed. But this is why I like this idea that you have to be brave, and being brave just means doing. Because at the end, you just have to be realistic. You just have to broaden your perspective, do the look at your hands like you're stoned routine, and go, here I am. What am I actually doing? Like, validation, deserving things, everything that I'm talking about, all these problems, they don't exist. It's just this big fun game of torture that we're playing with ourselves that society started when we were really young. You need to think and think and think. You want to know that the overthinking paid off. You want the overthinking to get you somewhere. The overthinking got you into this mess, this mental health mess, and god damn it, I'm going to use overthinking to get me out of this mess too. And so we overthought our way into needing validation and letting our trauma wreak havoc on our ability to trust. We can't trust anybody. We're anxious. We're all these things. And we're playing this big fun game of torture in our brain. And we're angry about it and we want it gone. But we'll do everything except just quit playing the game. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, maybe if I roll double sixes and move my, like, it's just like, if you hate Monopoly, the only good choice you can make is to quit playing Monopoly. Winning Monopoly isn't going to, like, get you anywhere. You know, you're playing this game. You hate the game. The overthinking game. I want to win the game of overthinking. I want to be the greatest overthinker in the world. Everybody will sing praises of my name. I overthought my way out of the overthink. And at a certain point, there's just a door.
Yeah.
There's just a door and you step out of it. And you can come back. Thinking's great. Thinking is not the enemy. And that's a mistake we can make too. Overthinking is not the enemy. It's just you're locked in. It's like if you had a pair of pants that you couldn't take off. And this is such a I'm running with it. If you had a pair of pants that you could never take off and you had to just pee your pants every day. Like you might think that pants are the enemy. But like pants are fine. You just need to take the pants off before you pee. There's nothing wrong with the pants. In this metaphor, of course, pants are thinking. Pants are overthinking. There's nothing wrong with thinking. You just need to learn how to take off your thinking cap. Take off your thinking pants.
Take off your pants.
And, like, quit pissing your pants. You just need to quit pissing your pants.
That's the solution.
We got a thumbnail. Quit pissing your pants.
Episode 7. Quit pissing yourself.
And I know that was just very raw motivation rant, but that's just me venting on, I wish I had the silver bullet. I wish I had a step-by-step process. I wish I could write it in an email and send it to you guys. Step 1. I don't know. Take off the pants. First your left leg, then your right leg. Congratulations, you've quit overthinking. You can just go live your life and enjoy yourself now.
So
I wish I could do that.
The first night that you and I ever talked, so I hopped on your live stream on TikTok, and I don't even know what you were doing. I think you were playing Pokemon. I don't know. And I was like, hey, I think you wrote that song Tim's Run. I really like it. I'm in the US though. Tim sucks here, but I love Tim Hortons. Love your music. Hope you're having a great night. And you were like, yeah, that's me. I wrote that. Glad you like Tim's Run. How are you? And I was like, could be better, but thanks for asking. And then you just like dove right into it. You were like, well, why? Even though I was like a random stranger, you were like, well, why? What's wrong? How are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, I'm just overthinking. And you were like, well, you just sometimes you have to dive into it and let yourself overthink a little bit in order to find the reason that you're overthinking and find a solution. You have to overthink sometimes. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then like the more you got to know me, the more you pinpointed it, and you were like, yo, the thing that I always remember anytime that I have a problem where I overthink, and I do have that problem, and I know you know that I have that problem. Yeah, the thing you told me is that you have to park the car. You're like, you can't just keep driving in circles. You have to park the car. And that is the thing that has stuck with me since day one. And that is the thing that I will never, ever, ever forget to tell myself, is that we have to park the car. The more we drive in circles, we're not getting anywhere. We're not finding a road to go. We're not taking a right or a left or even driving straight. We're circling, and that's not useful. So sometimes we have to park the car.
I think I just made I made a rule. I think I want to write it down. I'll write it in chat. Feeling of work out.
I also have an answer to your what do we do to sever the tie, what is it, but I don't want to talk about it here, so we can talk about it, just us. That's fine.
Oh, why? Well, how about this? We will talk about it, and then we will find a safe, productive way to return to it for the people
Okay.
of the podcast.
Yeah, because I think it'll be useful
I was
for
typing
them,
in for some reason. Oh, sorry. I need to write this down before I forget it. That probably seems like super, like, duh, which is like most of the profound things are. But I feel like that is just a rule. This needs to go on the formula sheet. This needs to go on the formula sheet of feelings, where I feel like I'm working and I feel like I'm not going somewhere. And I don't know if you are looping is the right, but like that specific combination of feelings of I'm working hard but I'm not getting results, that needs to be a very specific trigger that we identify and then concoct a specific list of what is happening and what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because I think that is an incredibly common feeling for human beings in across the board. Yeah. Running in place. What do you do?
Feeling of work
You
without
park the car.
feeling of progress. Why didn't you just at my current job? Like, why didn't you just say at Hailey's day job?
And yeah. I feel like I actually want to goals. Park the car. I almost the way this is set up as an equation, I feel like it's like work. I'm gonna math it up here. What would it be?
Max, shut the F up.
They say
Shut up, Max. Everyone loves you.
I like how they're like, sometimes I feel like I'm annoying because I talk too much, and like you're I'm not saying it was a bad thing, it's just funny that you're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I
shut
got
the fuck up.
What do you tell people that talk too
Yeah.
much?
Quit talking
Shut
about
up.
talking too much. This is actually okay. I'll work on my little math thing later. Okay, Max, I just recently like really pegged this down. I overthought this and like pinned it down to the wall. My apologizing for, oh, sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much. This is the thing that makes me feel like you are so much young me. Because I was in positions where I felt like I had the social anxiety because I felt like people thought I was talking too much. And oh, that could be true. But it's like you're making a false connection. So hypothetically, for this was for me. I'm not talking about you. People did think I was annoying because I was talking too much. And then I said, and therefore I should quit talking so much. That and therefore was a very false conclusion. What's wrong with people thinking you're annoying? Do you know how many people think I'm annoying? Every single one that's ever swiped past my TikTok. I bet that there's literally millions, tens of millions of people in this world that have, with their actions, said, Shane is annoying.
Shane is
Nothing,
annoying.
no, the sky has not fallen on me. And is there something, like, it could be, I am talking a lot and people think I'm annoying, and therefore I want to work on my communication skills or something like that. But like this assumption that here did something super interesting. um, that like when something is there, even if it's true, I'm not saying that it's true. It might not be true for you. This could be just total fabrication. But for me, it was true. There was people that didn't like me because I talked too much and I talked too loud. And for the most part, it was people find me annoying because I'm not afraid and they're afraid and they see something in me that they are envious of and it is triggering to them that I exist in this way, and then they have these sort of they make little faces and they talk about how I'm annoying because they aren't willing to go the where I went tonight in this conversation because they're cowards. That's another benefit of accepting the fact that you are a coward is that it becomes easy to see that almost everyone is a coward, and you can quit taking people's judgment so seriously and you don't have to care about it so much.
Yeah. Seems like most folks make great losers.
Most folks make good losers. My hair is funny right now. Most folks make good losers, and I really believe that's true. I think that most people have been tricked, and it's not their fault. Most people have been tricked into being afraid of things that they don't need to be afraid of, and it's not their fault, but you don't need to give them, you don't need to place the importance on their words that you have been. Because
Because.
you want direction and you want it from someone other than you because that makes it less scary.
Ooh.
That way if the direction's wrong, you can blame them. That way if the direction is wrong, you can search for another person. If the validation is from the wrong person and they betray you, then you can just, develop trust issues. It can be trauma. It can be something bad happened to me. But when you are the one that is guiding, when you're the one in the driver's seat making the choices, You screw up, it's on you. And that might seem scary, but it's a lot less scary than getting to the end of your life and laying on your deathbed and regretting the way you existed. That's what Thomas is about.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Um, yeah.
Wow. What an hour.
Take charge. It's not about anybody else. It's about you and doing and being a little bit hard on yourself, because if you're the one giving yourself direction, then you have to not do every little impulsive thing that you want to do. You have to consider your choices carefully, or be impulsive and then accept the consequences of your actions. Either one is fine, but that's the reality of taking accountability for your own life. You have to learn how to admit when you're wrong. That's something that I've been getting a lot better at, is the enjoying the feeling of being humbled and realizing that I need to change. Learning to genuinely enjoy that feeling and seek it out. Um, yeah. Once you once you get over the learning curve, it's a lot of fun, and it's a hell of a lot of more fun than living your life in fear, either by other people who are living their lives in fear, wandering in the dark until you get to the end of your life and you feel like it was all a waste. That's a lot scarier than taking charge of your own life and saying to hell with people's validation, to hell with my trauma. Who cares what happened to me? I'm just going to do what I want to do. And I will feel feelings. I will feel bad feelings because of those things. Sometimes, sometimes not, less or more. But in terms of my body and the things that I actually do, will I pick this up? Will I go like what I actually do? That feels good, actually. Let's have a little Ursa Horizon moment.
No, please.
That's the exact emoji, bro.
I mean, I don't want to continue the therapy session, but what do you do when you're the one you're afraid of? Oof.
That sounds like a perfect cliffhanger for next week's podcast.
Honestly, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
We just
Yeah.
found a theme. That is beautiful.
What do you do when you're the one you're afraid of? Thanks for watching.
Damn. Love you all so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.